Tonight, Wisconsin's governor says he's considering extending the stay-at-home order as lawmakers work to craft more legislation to fight COVID-19.
And why local first responders and lawmakers are urging Minnesota's governor to release more information on patients who test positive for coronavirus.
Plus, state prison leaders say Minnesota could start releasing low-level inmates as early as next week.
From CBS3 Duluth, this is the CBS3 News at 6.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Bakke.
And I'm Anthony Matt. Thanks for joining us. Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers says he is considering extending the state's stay-at-home order.
The current stay-at-home order is set to expire on April 24th. The governors of Minnesota and Michigan have already extended their state's stay-at-home orders. Minnesota's was set to expire today, but has been extended to May 4th. Wisconsin's Department of Health Services Secretary Andrea Palm says they will do what is necessary to flatten the curve in the state. Right now, there's no plan or dates in place to extend the order.
Until we have a vaccine, until we have medical intervention, we are going, as the governor said, to have to very actively manage this outbreak. And Safer at Home is the current tool that we are using.
Meanwhile, Governor Tony Evers added they're hoping to craft legislation next week that will further alleviate the burden on those impacted by COVID-19.
New at 6, more than half of Wisconsin's hospitals don't have enough personal protective equipment or PPE. Those hospitals say they have less than a 1-week supply of goggles and gowns worn when treating coronavirus patients. The Wisconsin Hospitals Association website shows that as of this afternoon, more than a third of hospitals say they have less than a week's worth of face shields, N95 masks, and paper medical masks.
2 U.S. senators from Wisconsin want an investigation into missing absentee ballots in the state. Senators Tammy Baldwin and Ron Johnson are calling on the U.S. Postal Service to investigate what happened to those missing ballots. In a letter to the Inspector General, both cite numerous instances the Postal Service failed in their mission to get all of those ballots in the hands of voters. On Thursday, the Wisconsin Elections Commission said nearly 1.3 million absentee ballots had been requested by voters, and about 235,000 ballots had not yet been returned. It remains unclear how many ballots were completed by voters and mailed back by the Tuesday deadline.
Meanwhile, the Wisconsin Elections Commission held a meeting this afternoon talking about the issue with missing ballots from Tuesday's election. The administrator says she's having a hard time getting answers from the Postal Service about why some ballots were sent out on time and others were not, even if they came from the same clerk's office. She said they haven't found any trends in the missing ballots. There's also an issue with the postmarks. Some don't have a date, others just show month and year, but not day. Some commissioners argued ballots received by clerks after Election Day without a clear April 7th postmark should not be counted. Others argued if the clerk received a ballot on April 8th, it was obviously mailed on the 7th and should be counted.
Everybody seemed to assume that every piece of mail gets a postmark, which it doesn't. So how many people are we going to disenfranchise over a decorative stamp versus actually having put their ballot in on time?
Other commissioners say unless the ballot has a clear, dated postmark, it's impossible to know if they were mailed on time and should not be counted if they arrived after the 7th. The court ruling just says ballots need to be postmarked, not a dated postmark. Wisconsin needs volunteers to help the state fight COVID-19. Active and retired healthcare professionals are encouraged to sign up. So is anyone else willing to help outside the hospital? We have a link to sign up posted on our website. All right, let's check in with Dave for a quick look at the weather. Dave, looks like the sun's still or maybe still shining out there. Hard to say all of a sudden.
Well, it is getting a little bit cloudy out here now, and that's taking the temperatures down a little bit. And that's going to be the trend for the overnight hours here. Temperatures likely will be going down a little bit here as a small Alberta Clipper comes to call. Let's take a live local look at what's happening up the Ash Lake area here as we head up Highway 53 north of Virginia. And that's going to show that the snow there has retreated pretty nicely, although there's a chance come Monday it'll try to come back once again. There's that live look, and now let's take a look at what's coming up as far as the forecast goes for our weekend. And that weekend forecast is going to show that I think tonight clouds will become mostly cloudy after a sunnier day. Saturday, partly sunny, but not bad. Warmer. Warm front makes it 50 degrees. Sunday, That'll be mostly cloudy as a bigger low pressure system comes around. High temp also falls come Sunday from 50 Saturday to 39 Sunday and into Monday. Still looking at a chance for snow, and that chance of snow is what we're going to take a look at in more detail coming up in just a few more minutes. Right now it looks like Wisconsinites and folks in the snow belt could get more than people in Minnesota, but as usual with an April snow, things are up in the air, and we'll try to give you the latest theories on what is coming our way in more detail, like I mentioned, in just a few more minutes.
Thanks, Dave. We're learning 3 of the 4 people who died from COVID-19 in St. Louis County were residents at a Duluth assisted living home. That's according to the president of St. Anne's. He says as of this morning, 17 of their residents are COVID-19 positive. St. Anne's is under quarantine, and they're working with the state to stop the spread in their facility. County leaders say the 4 people who died include 3 men in their 70s to late 80s and a woman in her early 60s. In all, 34 St. Louis County residents have tested positive.
First responders across Minnesota, including those in our region, want to know where confirmed COVID-19 patients live. They're calling on Governor Tim Walz to sign an executive order that would allow 911 dispatchers to access that information. They hope it would help keep first responders safe and limit the use of personal protective equipment, or PPE. CBS 3's Leanne Valdez listened in to a call today as first responders asked Congressman Pete Stauber for help on the federal level.
As we can all see through our discussions here, extremely limited supply.
Friday morning, Representative Pete Stauber listened as first responders from across Minnesota asked for action on the shortage of personal protective equipment due to fire, police, and ambulance crews using that PPE on every call. Stauber agrees something needs to be done.
Right now, personal protective equipment is being used for every call, which may not be necessary and will ultimately deplete our stockpiles sooner.
Duluth Police Chief Mike Tuskin says his department is doing everything it can to limit the amount of PPE they use while still practicing safety measures.
Taking calls over the phone, encouraging online reporting, requesting people to talk to us outside of a residence instead of inside, dispatchers screening calls about illness, limiting contacts.
But Tuskin says it's not enough, and PPE is being used up fast.
In an ideal world, we would have access to enough personal protective equipment to don on every call for service. Unfortunately, this is not our reality today.
They all hope Governor Walz signs an executive order allowing 911 dispatchers to inform first responders if there are confirmed COVID-19 at the scene, giving them the opportunity to use only the necessary amount of PPE.
Having this premise information will help us as we determine what level we need going into any call.
Virginia Fire Chief Alan Lewis says it's important to slow the PPE burn rate now, especially before the projected COVID-19 surge hits.
If we were to continue the rate of utilization of PPE and our cases were to increase, we would not be able to keep up.
Lewis says the information would only be available to those who need it.
This data can be shared securely, it can be stored securely, and it will only be released to those with a need to know.
He argued that first responders are being sent in without needed information.
You wouldn't send troops into battle without giving them a full, accurate intelligence picture. So why would you send your first responders into a situation and not give them all the information?
Congressman Pete Stauber previously wrote a letter to Governor Tim Walz highlighting the importance of this issue. Stauber says Walz has yet to reply.
New at 6, state prison leaders say Minnesota could start releasing low-level inmates as early as next week. Civil rights advocates have asked state officials to release some medically at-risk and nonviolent inmates. They hope it would limit the spread of COVID-19 and save lives. So far, 9 inmates at the Moose Lake Prison have tested positive. 7 of them have recovered. The state's Department of Correction commissioner says releasing some prisoners early from prisons like Moose Lake is likely the best way to create more space. But he says public safety has to be the top priority. Prisoners who could be released include nonviolent offenders who pose a low risk to public safety and are within 90 days of their scheduled release. St. Louis County has also decided to send some low-level inmates home on monitored release.
Here's a quick look at the number of coronavirus cases in our area. In Michigan, there are nearly 28,000 cases with almost 1,300 deaths. In Wisconsin, there is more than 3,000 cases and 128 deaths. Minnesota now has 1,300 cases and 57 deaths. Worldwide, there are 1.7 million cases with nearly 400,000 recoveries.
An update to a story we first brought you Wednesday morning. Duluth police are searching for suspects after 2 fires they believe were set intentionally. Those fires happened in the Central Hillside and Endian neighborhoods between midnight and 1:30 Wednesday morning. No suspects have been arrested. Police also say they're not sure if the fires are connected. Meanwhile, a 3rd fire Wednesday morning in the Cody neighborhood has been ruled accidental. No one was injured in any of the fires.
City officials in Ashland are moving forward with plans to build a new $4 million police station. According to a city document, they're now asking construction management companies to bid on the project. Ashland officials say a general contractor has already been selected. The project will be funded by the city. We did reach out to the 2 city officials about how this would affect local tax dollars. No one has responded as of news time. Construction is set to begin in May. It should be finished by August of 2021. Ashland police have been trying to secure funding for a new police department for several years.
Still to come on Live Local CBS 3, students at all levels are adapting to distance learning. But what about those hands-on classes? We'll show you how UMD students are doing it next.
Catch Eye on Parenting every Thursday at 6 with me, Leanne Valdez on CBS 3.
You are not alone. Our whole community is pulling together, from your healthcare team
to your first responders to your police force,
to keep our community healthy and safe. If you can, please stay home during this time. This will slow the spread of the virus and can help save lives. By staying apart, we keep our community together. For the latest on COVID-19, please visit the CDC and Minnesota Department of Health websites.
We're ready. We're united.
We're here.
Your Lake Superior Honda dealers want you to be safe. And right now, you need a car you can count on and your dealer to go the extra mile. And while everything is changing around us, one thing hasn't changed: our commitment to you. That's why we're working to follow all government guidelines and doing everything we can to help you stay safe with a reliable car that's ready to go when you need it. For details, call your Honda dealer or visit shophonda.com today.
This month, we're changing Taco Tuesday to Taco Tuesday. Get $2 off our 6-pack and a pound any day of the week. Because these days, every day deserves a win. Taco John's. See you in the drive-thru.
My goodness, that is a spectacular lawn.
When you see a great lawn, it's all you see. Call the experts at True Green for a custom science-based plan to make your lawn thick, green, healthy, and weed-free.
Each spring, thousands of wildfires are caused by burning debris. To ensure everyone's health and safety during the COVID-19 public health emergency, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources is suspending all burning permits until further notice. Burning debris in DNR protection areas is prohibited. Help keep our emergency responders able to help those who need it most. Thank you for your patience. For updated information, visit dnr.wi.gov and search fire.
Vaping has been declared a national epidemic among youth. 1 in 3 high schoolers vape in northeastern Minnesota.
My child started having seizures from vaping. There's still so many unknown chemicals.
1 vape cartridge has as much nicotine as at least 2 packs of cigarettes.
My child was hospitalized with severe lung injuries.
They said it was no big deal.
My child said it was no risk.
That it was under control.
That's what my child said. But what could I have said? Get the facts and talk to your child today.
I'm about to use the airplane's battery as a magnet.
Now! A new MacGyver tonight on CBS.
Magnum is back on the case.
We just need a couple minutes.
I suggest you leave now.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, why not?
Because after I take it from you, I'm then going to have to smash your ugly faces with it. He's going to help.
It's true. Magnum returns with new episodes tonight, 9/8 Central on CBS.
Get your news on the go. The CBS3 mobile app.
Well, just a few minutes ago, my neighborhood herd of deer came through, and I just happened to have some apples left over from last autumn here, tossed out to them. They were getting fairly soft, but the deer seem to be enjoying them, and if they're a little bit fermented, perhaps they'll enjoy them even more. Weather today, we enjoyed that. It wasn't too bad. Yesterday was cold and windy. Now today was sunny and calmer. Tomorrow, partly sunny, but warmer. And that'll be our day to enjoy before things get colder and perhaps even stormier. Monday, there is a chance for some snow to try to stick around our region. Let's get a live look now at what's happening with our current conditions out there. And those are going to show us that right now at the airport in Duluth, that current temperature is 44 degrees. Relative humidity low at 38%. Westerly, northwesterly winds only going 8 miles per hour. That's down from yesterday, a nice break. Air pressure, that'll probably be slipping down a little bit over the weekend as well. A couple of lows are taking aim at our region. One's an Alberta Clipper from the northwest, and one's a Colorado low from the southwest. One will be gentle, and one, if it hits us directly, could be a little bit more powerful. Right now, conditions sky-wise for the region and temperature-wise, well, we're looking at 40s for much of the area, though there's a couple of towns that have slipped into the 30s, and some places are sunnier than others. Yeah, we do already have clouds building in from the northwest, and that's from that Alberta Clipper that's skirting along the Canadian border. It's a pretty weak one, though, so I don't think tonight it's really going to bring us any precip. It'll thicken our clouds up, though, and it'll become mostly cloudy overnight. That high that brought the dry weather today likely will help keep it dry tomorrow, but the lows will try to overcome it as the weekend progresses. And so by Sunday, we'll get fairly cloudy, overcast perhaps, from that low from the southwest coming up. Classic Colorado low brings us a chance for some snow on Monday. Looks like a 50% chance. And right now, the latest trends indicate that most of the snow likely will be in the snow belt and places like that. Well, Minnesota might not get that much. And right now, I'm thinking towards the snow belt. This chart's a little too enthusiastic, but it sets the stage and gives us a general trend that the snow belt gets more and the rest of the region gets less. Now, what do we get tonight in Minnesota for the low temps? We're going to be eyeing up the situation here, and it's going to show that a lot of temperatures in the region are going to be dropping down into the 20s. And as we take a look at what's going on in northwestern Wisconsin there, we're going to see a lot of 20s popping into that neck of the woods as well. With that mostly cloudy sky that's going to be hitting us because of the Alberta Clipper near the Canadian border. For tomorrow in Wisconsin and Michigan, I think you're probably going to have a partly sunny sky with temperatures in the 50s, so it's going to be a pretty nice day. Partly sunny in Minnesota as well, with temperatures in the 40s north of Duluth to 50s probably around Duluth and to the point south. But now with the extended forecast and that bigger low bubbling up from the southwest, we get the 50-50 shot for the snow that comes around for our Monday, and then it winds down to a 30% flurry chance by Tuesday. And frankly, once we get towards Easter, you eye up your basket, what you're going to be getting are cooler temperatures. We delve down into the 30s probably through Wednesday. Once we get towards Thursday, though, Kristen, Tony, I think we will start to warm up again, perhaps slowly, but it's better than a continued downward spiral.
It sure is. I agree with that. Thanks, Dave. Many college students have spent the last 3 weeks learning online. Some of those courses have been more challenging to convert to a virtual format than others. Today we caught up with a dance class at UMD. Professor Rebecca Katz-Harwood says losing the studio environment and face-to-face interaction has been a real hurdle. She added that even though it's a difficult time for everyone, she teaches her 5 students to look at the glass half full and be thankful they can still learn together.
I think that challenge of being able to give feedback, which is something that normally you're able to do much more seamlessly in real time, now has become kind of an either-or task. And so just navigating, figuring out what works best.
The students say they were hesitant at first, especially with figuring out enough space in their homes to dance. They also said it challenged them to work on time management. One student in the class says it's actually been pretty fun.
It's kind of fun to bring dance into my house and share it with my family, and to have my dogs running around while I'm dancing. So obviously it's really wonderful to be in a studio, but there are positives of being at home as well.
Katz-Harwood says you too can learn to dance at home. She suggested checking out dancingaloneTogether.org, where you can learn or create dances to share with your community.
The Split Rock Lighthouse on the North Shore will shine bright tonight in a show of solidarity in the fight against COVID-19. The beacon of the more than century-old lighthouse is only lit a few times each year, reserved only for special occasions. You can check out a live stream of the lighthouse on our website, cbs3duluth.com, as well as our Facebook page. You can't check it out in person, though. The lighthouse is currently closed to the public. Coming up in sports, Kelly Hinseth chats with future UMD defenseman Wyatt Kaiser.
Find your favorite CW shows on the Duluth CW, cable, satellite, over the air, and streaming on KDLH Duluth. CBS 3 live cams are brought to you by Kohler Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac. You're not just getting a car, you're getting Kohler.
Keep scrolling. Order food. Skim headlines. Order shoes. Use AutoSend for flowers. Use AutoSend for birthdays. Don't go outside. Don't go outside. Don't leave the phone behind. No sync. Don't blink. Don't think. Don't ever let yourself feel this alive. Breathe. Ride.
Hey everyone, Kevin Jacobson here from CBS3 Duluth.
This is Kristen Baki and Louie. Hi everyone, this is Natalie Grant from CBS3 Weekends.
Hey, this is Tony from CBS3 Duluth.
Hi everyone, it's Emma and Betty from CBS3 Duluth.
Right now is a crazy time for everyone.
We are going through something that none of us have experienced before.
But even with all the crazy times that we are going through right now, we want you to know that you are not alone.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
We are still connected. We are still us.
We can still laugh and smile.
We can still share moments and be happy.
This is a time where we need to focus on the important stuff.
We're here for you.
We are here for you.
Stay safe. Take care of yourselves.
And each other.
We are all in this together.
We're all in this together.
We are all in this together.
We are all in this together.
And we'll get through this, just like we always do.
Sports are my passion and the love of my life. And when you watch a sportscast, the biggest compliment that I get is that you seem so excited about what you're talking about. And that's not an act for me. Who doesn't want to see someone, deliver their news in a fun way? So if you love it, I love it, you're gonna see the authenticity that I think I bring to CBS3 Sports.
Watch sports with Kelly Hinseth on CBS3.
How do I take the 2020 census? In March 2020, every address in the country will receive an invitation to complete a simple questionnaire. And there are 3 ways to respond. Number 1, do it online. Number 2, call by phone. Number 3, send it by mail. For those who don't respond, a census taker from your community will follow up and assist you. Shape your future. Start here. Visit 2020census.gov.
We're family.
It's good to all be together. Gotta be there when family needs you.
Talk about a win-win.
Sunday night, a great night to spend time with family. And these guys are my family too. Being on this team is a rocket ride.
True that.
Good times.
I freaking love it.
Great mysteries.
It's on.
Case solved.
To the best team in town.
New NCIS Los Angeles and NCIS New Orleans. Sunday on CBS.
Catch Eye on Parenting every Thursday at 6 with me, Leanne Valdez, on CBS3.
Welcome back into sports. UMD men's hockey is losing a few key defensemen next year, whether it's to graduation or signing with the pros. But luckily, they're going to be reloading with one of the best hockey players in the entire state of Minnesota. That would be Andover alum Wyatt Kaiser. As I learned yesterday, he is heading to UMD next year to suit up. I had the chance to chat with him. Here's my conversation.
Like, from the minute that you said, this is my school, this is where I want to go, this is where I want to play college hockey, can you take me back?
Kind of after the Five Nations tournament, after that kind of crazy tryout, going overseas for the first time playing for USA, came back and kind of was deciding on colleges, and UMD just felt right. I mean, the culture was good, the coaching staff was good, there's good people all around. So, I mean, it felt right, so it wasn't really that hard of a decision. And then I kind of just went with it, kept playing hockey. And that led me to here, really.
What about the coaching staff was so appealing?
I mean, they were just good guys. They weren't trying to... I mean, there were some colleges where they kind of talk a lot, like, hey, it says, and they just kind of said, hey, if you want to come here, we got a good school, we got a good team, we're here.
Pretty good team. Have you paid attention the last 2-3 years? What they've been able to do?
I'm excited. I mean, it'll be a lot of fun. I mean, I can't wait.
All right, NHL rankings. Do you ever sit back and just go, there's me, there I am on the list, like, you know, Andover's Wyatt Kaiser, number 37.
I don't too much. I mean, every once in a while I do. I kind of just sit back and go, but I don't know. I don't really think about it too much. I mean, I try not to worry about it. I'm just playing hockey, outside things, that's fine.
You've seen, you know, this up-and-coming program, and you're kind of, I would say you're kind of leading the charge there. How much pride do you take in that? And not just that you lead the charge, but just how far the Andover High School hockey program has come in the past few years.
Kind of put Andover on the map, let everybody know about it. Kind of going forward, being a power program. I mean, it's really meant a lot to me.
Your sister is not too bad at hockey either.
Oh, she's fantastic.
So she's committed to the University of Minnesota as a sophomore. You're heading to UMD. How's that going to work?
The parents might be split. I mean, they're both Sioux fans, or they both went to UMD, so it'll be split now.
So you got UMD, you got your parents, North Dakota, and then you got your sister at Minnesota. What do you guys joke about that?
All the time.
So if you missed the end of that, his parents went to UND, the University of North Dakota. He's heading to UMD, and his sister is committed to play for the Gophers in a few years.
Boy.
So I, for one, am very excited for that rivalry when he gets to be a junior and she's at the University of Minnesota.
Yeah, I want to be around their kitchen table one day.
Yeah, talk about weird Thanksgivings. 3 just titans of the hockey
just
schools
debating.
out there. Yeah.
Who's the best?
All right, thanks, Kelly.
Tonight on the CBS3 News at 10, discrimination against Asian Americans in the midst of COVID-19. That's what the state of Minnesota is working to avoid. Tonight we're hearing from a Duluth human rights officer and a Hibbing man who was born in South Korea to hear about his experience during this health pandemic.
Doctors on the front lines of the COVID-19 crisis are under a tremendous amount of pressure. So at a Missouri hospital, a new 4-legged staff member is helping to ease some of that stress. Golden Retriever Bennett is the hospital's chief snuggle officer. No, really? That is his official title. I wonder if it's a doctorate. Doctors and nurses say he lights up the room every time he walks in and brings some comfort to an otherwise chaotic situation. Right now, the loving pup is only certified to offer comfort to hospital employees. When he turns a year old in June, he'll begin training to be a therapy dog for patients.
Oh, he looks like a good boy.
He sure does.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you at 10.